Hi everyone, and welcome back to Bole the podcast. I am Jaden Lewis. This is Umberger, and we've got a special guest, Yogi B, joining us today. Now, we haven't met Yogi B before. This is our first time meeting and talking to him. But I was actually really surprised when Umberger reached out to me and said, "Hey, let's go and talk to Yogi B." And I looked him up because, to be honest, I didn't know who you were, and I was like, "Oh wow, how the heck does she know who he is?" So, how did you meet Yogi B?
Okay, actually, this is the first time we're meeting in person. But Yogi B reached out to me sometime in 2014 and wanted to have a chat with me. You said Arun had given my number. Yeah. And so we've had a few chats on the phone, exchanges of messages, and really, of course, Yogi B, everyone knows, all right? You don't even need an introduction. And we all know about Poetic Ammo and so on. So I was delighted to speak to him, but it was not about music. It was about the social issues that were facing our country. And we have had long conversations about that, actually. And I'd like to get to that at some point in the interview. But I think people would want to hear about your music first. So we're going to give them that. So over to you, Jay.
Yeah, definitely, and you're gonna have to stop me because I know I'm gonna geek out talking about rap and hip hop. That's gonna happen for sure. So, slap me over the head. But what I want to know is I want to know about you. Like, where did it all start? Where did young Yogi B come from?
Oh, okay. First, I would like to say thanks a lot. Meeting you guys. Thanks to Bole podcast, and it's an honor. Meeting Dato. Her in person. And what she said was, on the time I messaged her. It was just on good social ideas. Actually, it was about a language and how English plays a good role for the youths to move up, social mobility, stuff like that. Then when I messaged her, and then this is after how many years I'm meeting her, so it's a good one.
It's been too long.
Too long. And nice meeting Jaden.
Thanks.
You're a hip hop head, DJ. Yeah.
No. I'm a hip hop head. I like hip hop and I like rap.
Fantastic. So coming to your questions, how and where I'm from. So I am born in a low middle income family. Mom's name is Kulasigri, father's name is Veersingam. Father is a government servant. He worked in Maktab Turus Angkatan Tentera, that stands for a part of the defense ministry, and he was an auditing clerk. And I'm a kampong boy. I come from a village, urban village. That's how we describe kampong in Malaysia, in Sentul. So mom's a housewife, and I was born in a kampong in Sentul. Simple life. And when I was born there, I went to my kindergarten. My schooling was not in Sentul, but when it started off, how shall I say? My kampong life was only up to around standard 1. So after that, father got government quarters. We were lucky, and then we went to stay in Cochrane. So Cochrane Road, as you know now, is basically what IKEA is. So IKEA sits on a whole big land which was the government quarters. So that was from kampong life to urban life. So in my younger days, Dad was actually a very active person in Red Crescent, as well as being a government servant. And he did a lot of service during the floods and all. One day I just found a scroll and he showed it to me, and he actually unfortunately had a stroke in his early life. So I have very little recollection of my dad speaking. It was very tough life for us because as a stroke patient, he still went to work up to his 55 years until he retired. So mom was holding this family together, from kampong life. Then we went to to the government quarters. So as I mentioned, I found a scroll there where it said, thanks for your services, during the May 13 curfew times, in in our efforts to bring peace or whatever, signed by the Prime Minister and Sultan. So that is to that extent, has done great stuff. And then on, his career and life after the stroke was not that great. So to me, that simple kampung life. After that, as I came to the government quarters, that's when the whole understanding what KL urban lifestyle was started for me. And when I was, and in my schooling time, I always had this inclination or some kind of aptitude in music. My mom always told me, whenever we were kids, she would used to play John Denver, Country Road. Yeah, I always remember the song because that's the first actually pop song that she played to me, and she would buy me this toy guitar, and I would try to play it, and that didn't work out. And after that, she was very religious. To an extent, too religious. Mother was like oh my God, these are the people that you have to stop saying enough of buying, God pictures. Your classic Indian mother that's extremely devotion. So she was a person that always singing, devotional songs and all that. So I've got my pop culture starting from John Denver, and then I've got my religious songs. So this roja of music is what started off, as my inspiration slowly. And when I went to my primary school, I kind of discovered that I had this talent for maybe storytelling in my primary years, around 14 years old, when there was a competition to tell stories. So I realized today, before coming and looking at your questions, I realized that, oh my God, I actually, my creative journey started at that age, because there was a competition in school and teacher asked me to tell a story, and I was doing voice effects when 14 years old, before I even discovered rap. So all this going down memory lane was something that was a seed that eventually had to develop, but it just had to take the right platform. So from my primary years, then I started my music career properly when I went to VI. So during that primary years, I actually studied properly. After that, I didn't. So to be very frank to you all, and when I entered VI was a school that really changed my life. Dato' Jayden, and you should check that school out. In fact, you should go to the school, because that school is just one of the last pieces of colonial history that is still safeguarded in KL. Okay. So that school really changed my life, Dato', because going into that school, not only me but every other kid that comes from a low income or a rural background, when you enter the school, you're like flabbergasted. You're just in awe of the magnitude of the school, the feel, the building, and the legacy and the history. You're like, oh my God. And then you see who comes to the school. You're like, oh, these guys come with drivers. I'm taking like the public transport and coming. The mayor's son comes to the school. Then you see, the Sultan of Brunei. Then you see the who's also gone to school. You see this legacy, and you're like, okay, you suddenly become this small. And or bigger, actually, yeah, or bigger. So that school changed me, because I discovered a lot of things that a rural kid would not had a chance to discover at the age of 13, and at that time the school had its own swimming pool, aero modeling club, photography club, and all that. And in that, urban music was something that all the kids, all my seniors and juniors, were very into. So in one of the camping trips that I went to is where I discovered hip hop music. So my senior, we were in the middle of the jungle. He brought a boombox into the jungle, and then he was playing this music by Run DMC. And when I heard the music, I was like, oh, I've heard this music before. It's a very funny, weird kind of feeling. Like, how is that I feel like, I've heard this music before, but this is the first time. And then in that awkward Magic. I asked him what it was. Then he said, okay, this is this group, Run DMC. Then I went, forced my mom to give me money. I went and bought the cassette. Mother's like trying to understand why this kid is asking me for this, to buy this cassette. When I bought it, listened to it. And in those days, you can't get lyrics to this music. You had to actually sit down and like decipher things like hieroglyphics of Egyptians. We don't know what they're talking about, Dato. So we started to write about, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So started to write the lyrics, and then proper, that's when my hip hop journey started. But in between that and primary, obviously, as an average Malaysian kid, I listened to every kind of music that was available during the pop era. Michael Jackson, I grew up with Elvis, a bit of Bob Marley and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But can I jump in there? Okay, VI, first of all, call me Ambiga. It's first name basis
Okay.
in this interview.
Okay.
But VI, your headmaster was?
Samad.
Ah, right, okay.
Samad.
So, did you play cricket?
No.
Ah,
I tried it
really?
with my friends.
Okay, I had to ask that question okay, because they have a huge cricket pitch in VI.
Huge cricket pitch.
Yeah.
In fact, just to tie in with that, it was I'm very thankful for my knowledge and VI, because cricket is such a very unique sport.
It is.
And we had a field and had a cricket legacy. That little knowledge helped me today to write a song for Tamil Nadu's State Premier League. So I just did a
Wow.
song for Tamil Nadu's Premier League.
Nice.
And the little bit of information I had in hindsight, I mean, now that helped me today to do that song. So
Yeah,
that
and of
song,
course, India and cricket, I mean, that's
Oh.
just another level altogether. Yeah,
the
that's
level
right.
altogether.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, because you spoke about your mum, and I remember hearing you say that she's the one who used to put your chandanam kumkumam, and it became part of you.
Yeah.
But you also credited her with helping you write some of the lyrics. So can you just talk about both those things? Yeah.
My mom is, I would say, even though she's passed on 10 years on, she is the most important person whom I feel till today in my life, and I get very emotional when I talk about her. But she's such a powerful force that every day her presence brings me a lot of strength and a lot of sanity in life with all the struggles. So in my pursuit, trying to become an artist, the young kid trying to write lyrics, and become this nonsense nuisance to my mom. I used to tell her, try breakdancing, but then she saw this fat little kid trying to do something. Okay, that didn't work. Then he's trying to rap, he's tapping the table. Then I'm trying to write lyrics, and then at one point in my music career, I told her, okay, I need to write in Tamil, because this hip hop culture tells me to be myself, okay? And so I want to learn how to rap in Bahasa Malaysia. I want to rap in Chinese, tell my Chinese friends to rap in Chinese and English. And since the hip hop guys are telling me to be myself, I've got to write in Tamil. So how do I rap in Tamil? And in my household, we primarily speak in English. My English is good because my father, even though he was a stroke patient, he, a lot of things were in the urban English kind of Tamil family. My mother speaks Tamil, and my uncle, who speaks very good English, I think in English. So I'm asking her, okay, I'm going to rap in Tamil. So can you help me? She said, okay, you tell me how you want me to help you. I said, okay. I've got this beat, I'm going to write this line, okay? So how do I say, I'm looking towards tomorrow as the sun sets, No, how the sun is looking towards tomorrow and is setting, how do I say that in Tamil? So she very easily, she said, Suriyan sella nalai thedi mella. Then I was like, oh, that sounds nice. So then I understood that my mom's got flows. My mom's got skills. And I think a lot of Indian ladies, actually women in general, they got flows. Yeah. It's just that opportunity has never been given to them. So that point in my life, I realized, oh, how is that you can do that? No, very, no, nonchalantly, how does it come to you? Then she said, no, it's just like that. And while she was making, all the food for us to eat, then then I wrote, okay, Suriyan Salanale Tedi Mela, and she helped me write the first Tamil rap rhymes in my life, which inadvertently became the first Tamil hip hop lyrics in the world. Right. Because only when a rap MC writes, and I wrote that in 1996, 95, around that time. So my mom helped me write Tamil lyrics. Because
very poetic.
Yeah, poetic, yeah.
Very
so that's
poetic.
how it started.
Okay, I've got to ask you, what are flows? That means you have the rhythm or what? What?
Flows.
Sorry.
No problem.
Ambiga.
It's very hard to call it Ambiga. No problem, Ambiga. The flows are basically the cadence of spoken rap words. So if you were to say Suriyan Sella Nalai Tedimala in Tamil, if you put it into a beat in a flow, it will be Suriyan Sella Nalai Tedimala. So that rhythm that you bring in rap is what they call flows.
And your mom could do that? I mean, did
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what fascinated me then, and till today fascinates me. And every time I think of that, not to to deviate, digress. I think generally women, they are just tied to the kitchen, and in a very stereotypical way, that they're not given an opportunity. That a lot of things that later she told me that she wanted to do, she just wasn't able to do.
She could have been a professor of music, actually.
She could have been a lot of things.
A lot of things.
And I learned that later, and then that gave me a lot of vigor in life to to change a lot of things, which is what hip hop is actually. And then later, when I hear female MCs talk about cutting through the stereotype and equality and all that, I kind of saw that in my own mom.
Yeah.
So,
Amazing.
yeah.
So tell us about the Chandanam Kumbum. That's what she did for you every day, right?
Yeah, every day she takes this rounded Indian boy and then she takes this powder that all. Actually,
I'm interested to hear this.
Yes,
I don't know.
I know what he's talking about.
Malaysian mothers, they like to literally powder up their boys, and the girls I understand, but even their boys also. So they'll take their Kutikura or Johnson powder and all that, put it in their hand, and they'll go tap. So this brown face, comes, gets smothered, powdered with white patches, and then she smooths it out like you're putting powdered sugar on donut, and then you get this round ball. Okay, and if she doesn't do it properly, you'll be the center of attention wherever you go in kindergarten or school. So while she does that, after that she finishes the ceremony with putting the sandal paste and that red dot that you see. So that was a simple how shall I say, not sacrament, it's a simple ritual, that's the word. The simple ritual that she taught me from day one. Okay, look here, you go and pray, humble yourself. Not to get into too much of ritual or deep religious meaning. Mm-hmm. So just say, humble yourself when you go and pray. Put this sandal paste, that has got very good fragrance, and that brings you, into a very aromatic state of mind. And this dot is, to give you strength. These are symbolisms, and that just stuck on me. So okay, mother's teaching me ritual, I'll just follow it, and everywhere I go and whatever I do, that's what I do. That's what I do. And but some people misconstrue this to be a religious symbol. For me, it's just a very basic focusing ritual that I do.
Mm-hmm. The third eye?
The third eye, yeah. And actually that's what Hindus believe in. This third eye is not actually a physical eye. It's actually, they call it Arivu Kandis. It's an eye of knowledge. So eye of knowledge is not a physical thing, but as you gain knowledge, you tend to see more than your physical eye. You think with your mind's eye, and that's what it is. It's just a symbol.
That's nice.
So that's why it is still today a ritual. But in no way am I a very religious guy or a saint or angel. I'm what an average guy would be. That's the.
You talked about your mum with flow and cadence. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, I've been to a few Indian weddings, and I'm actually Sri Lankan. My parents are Sri Lankan.
Oh.
I was born in Australia, but they were born there and migrated. But I've been to Indian weddings, been to Sri Lankan weddings, and I've been to Caucasian weddings. And man, Indian Sri Lankan weddings, everyone can move. Caucasian weddings, you're going to find a few people that can't dance. So the cadence, yeah, I get it, absolutely. Yeah.
But did she sing Carnatic music? Or
No,
That's amazing.
Abhiga. She didn't sing any. She didn't have any formal music training. Till today, people ask me, where did you get this music influence from? Was your mother a music teacher? Was she formally trained? Was your father? I said no. My mom just loved to sing, and she used to sing. Sometimes, once she surprised me. She said, no, she started singing the song. I said, oh, what's this song? I've never heard it before. She said, no, I just came up with it. I was like, what?
Wow.
So again, when I think about all these things, I understood, okay, she was one part of that talent that was passed on. And on my dad's side, there was oratory skills. My father's father was a bit politically allied. He was one of the first presidents or the head of Malaysia Dravida Kalagam. So there was this political movement here. So he had certain atheistic principles and beliefs, and he used to speak in public. So I got his oratory skills, then his musical things. Hip hop was like a natural thing that I would gravitate.
It makes sense. If you didn't do it, then it's a disservice.
Yeah.
But it's when you said so your mum and listening to John Denver and then the church. That's a story that you hear from a lot of the big rap artists in the States and for other places.
Yep.
Gospel music or singing in the church. It makes so much sense.
Yeah. And my first performance in my life was in a church.
Right.
Yeah, it was the Methodist church in Sentul. So my kampung people brought me and said, okay, let's go, there's a party. And those days, everybody goes everywhere, So I mean, a church or mosque and all that. So I went there and there was a party, and that's where they played some disco music, and my first performance was.
Do you remember what disco?
Yeah, do you remember what, and can you do it?
No, I can't. I cannot dance disco. My wife will. It was, I think, for some John Travolta song.
Oh, okay.
A long time ago.
So
I was
just Saturday Night Fever
small.
time.
Yeah.
Bee Gees.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
So, as you said, a lot of religious music gives inspiration and start towards all the popular music you hear right now.
Right, yeah. Disco, I mean, rap music, disco, getting into funk, all those
everything.
samples, we'll talk about samples. I want to hear his side of samples as well. But anything else that you wanted to...
Well, no, I mean, a few things, but we can talk about that later. But on the music front, I think, what you did that was so special was that you did the first rap in Tamil, correct? And that was very, very powerful and became very powerful even in India, very popular in India. That's correct,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
So why did you think of Tamil rap, actually? Is it because of the social aspect? Or is there a musical aspect? Or a beat aspect? What made you think about that?
It was the first album of Poetic Emo, and the year was around 1995, 96. And during that time, the opportunity which was given to us by a record label, Positive Tone, sitting down, me as the producer for this album, our first Poetic Emos album, which we later titled It's a Nice Day to Be Alive, because we thought, okay, living in Malaysia, this beautiful country, just be happy to be alive. Today, in hindsight, I think it's a good title, but, and me being the producer of the album, so it was my job to sketch out the track list of the album, the repertoire of the album, and what the message of the album was going to be. So as a producer, it was my job to tell the story And each song, actually in an album, when I give the analogy, when people ask me how do you come up with an album, I will say, okay, it's like a book. Each song is like a chapter, and you have to tell the whole story and title the album like how you title a book. So all the songs have got relevance with each other, but are also in their own entity, a story by themselves. So when I was telling the story, okay, how does this bunch of Asian boys do American culture thing? So no, it's kind of fake. So I said no, how can this, why do I want to be someone else and take on someone else's culture? So the beautiful thing that I really loved about hip hop is that the first thing that came out of hip hop music was telling a message. In fact, there's a song called The Message, and the ideology was to be yourself, to tell the story as you are, and tell the pain and struggles, what you go through. So I thought, oh, this is a great art form. They are actually encouraging you, and the ideology, this whole culture, music culture, is about being yourself. So I thought, okay, how can I be myself? I'm a Malaysian, I'm an Indian, so I should rap in all the languages that I know and tell the story of where I'm from and who I am. So the whole album has got tracks like Kuala Lumpur, which was one of the first hip hop tracks to actually rap about KL. And that track is like, what, 15, 16 years old now. You know, so I'm very proud that we started off with the right ideology, that hip hop music was set in its roots, which is about representing who you are. So those words we used a lot, Ambiga, in the album Represent. We used the words Asian, you know, in an album that we knew if we were, you know, given the opportunity with the responsibility that comes with becoming an artist, you will influence the next generations. We thought, okay, let's do this right, so the next generations, they are not, you know, skewed off a tangent, trying to be something that they are not. You know, let's not pollute the river. Let's get this thing right, the blueprint. So till today, it's one of the seminal albums, because it's the only album, I think, or the first album that we rapped in Tamil, Bahasa Malaysia, English, and Cantonese.
Wow.
Yeah. So why and how we did it in Tamil was, I said, okay, we got to do it in 4 languages. It's either this or not. So me and my partners said, it's not easy rapping in Chinese. I said, yeah, it's not easy rapping in Tamil as well. So I've got in the group, there's a Point Blank, Landslide, C Loco, and me. So Landslide speaks very fluent Cantonese, and so does Point's Chinese. So Landslide is Indian. So these guys went back and said, okay, they wanted to rap in Chinese to their parents, and they also laughed, just like how my mom laughed. She said, it's not easy. You're talking about literally classical languages. Yeah. You want to take classical Mandarin, the Cantonese, and then rap in it. It's not what you think. It's not what you speak. So how we did it is with the help of our parents, and with I would use the Tamil word Baya Bhakti, which is like a reverence to language and culture. So we had to be very careful of what we write, and we had to be careful in the grammar, and we had to also rap in a very fun way, and balance this whole thing out in a very hip hop context. So it was very hard for me. I had to write my lyrics with my mom's, consultation. She didn't get paid for it at the end. I even had the last 10, but I did tell her, credit her in all the stories. So after writing my entire 16 bars, 16 lines, I had to show her and say, I rap it out to her and said, was it okay? Suri and Sella Nalai Tedi Mella, Sindane Kadalil Kelvi Alegal Tuaram Tulla, all this stuff. And then she was like, okay, yeah, it sounds all right. Wait, that part, that word, no, you can't say it that way, and all that.
So she co-produced the album or the song?
No, just the lyrics. I can't give a lot royalty for that. Actually, no, maybe I'm thinking. So we wanted to do it because it's who we are. We wanted to represent what we are, and we forced ourselves to rap in Bahasa Melayu as well, because that's very part of what I am. I'm a Malaysian. Yeah. So lambai-lambaikan tangan kau ke atas, ku tak kisah pasal kau kalau kau memang poser. So we literally wrote the line, put your hands in the air and wave them like you don't care, in Malay. And that was the first, when that line came out, all my Malay friends, and I hope my Malay teacher as well, which I didn't score very good in Bahasa Malaysia, I thought she would be proud, because we translated "put your hands in the air" and "wave them like you don't care" in 1997 in Malay. Wow. And all four of us are terrible in Malay, but we said, no lah, kita orang Malaysia, kita rap lah dalam Bahasa Melayu. We actually got flack from the scene. They said, no, you guys need to be black, you guys gotta rap in English and all this stuff, you can't do it in Malay. And it also came from some of the Malay rappers. They said, no, man. And I was like, no lah, we've got to try it. Because it was never done before. If it came out sounding corny, we'd say, yeah, let it be corny, but we got to do it because that's what we are.
Put your hands in the air, wave them just like you just don't care. Do you want to give a reference and context to that? Because
okay, so
thank you very much. I'm giving away my age, I'm afraid. Yes, go for it.
Actually, hip hop has got a beautiful history to it, Abigail. The hip hop history, it started with a DJ called DJ Kool Herc in 1973. What he did was, he thought, okay, during the school summer break, he wanted to throw a party for his sister. So he told her, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're just going to print a flyer, call it summer break or something like that. I don't exactly remember. And he gathered some money, and he brought all his sister's friends, his friend, into like a small party. And during that time, he used to spin two records together. And what he'd do is he would talk to the crowd. And that turned out to be one of the first, precursors to rapping. So he would say, everybody put your hands together. Hey, Jaden in the house, Ambiga in the house, And that's what came about to become rap. Wow. So in a crowd, they would say, one of the most famous sayings would be, put your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. Then the whole crowd will go there, do that. Nice. So we translated that into Malay. That's
Can you say it again, like in Malay?
Lambai-lambaikan tangan kau ke atas, ku tak kisah pasal kau kalau kau memang poser. The second line just says, I don't care about you if you are trying to be something you're not. Yes. But lambai-lambaikan tangan kau ke atas is wave your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. Nice. So we kind of translated that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that people push back on that. Well, kind of surprised and also not surprised at what you're saying before. People wanted to be more like the American style. I do get that. We were talking about that a little bit earlier because, when I was coming up listening to rap in Australia, there's great rap music, but I just like, no, I'm not going to listen to that. I got to listen to East Coast, West Coast. So I guess it was the same here then. Everyone was...
Okay. Everybody was monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah. Right.
You can't put a bit of local flavor in something that was, very fresh and very unique and new. At that time in late 90s and even in the 1995 onward, right? Whenever during that rap age, when it came on, people just wanted to take it and become American. This age, these kids today in 2022 will never understand or believe in an era where we just looked at America like in a higher level. Whatever just came out from there was so fresh and superior in a way. Yeah. There was nothing about ourselves. It's just us imitating everything from McDonald's to Coke to sportswear. Yeah.
America is a brand at that time.
It's a brand. Yeah. America was a brand, and you can't dilute that brand. If you dilute it, if you put Malay lyrics or Tamil lyrics, they'll be like, what you doing? That's not cool. America was cool. You cannot dilute cool.
But the messages are similar. You made that point.
That message, which that came out from America, did not actually reach Asia in general, because music was just taken just like a consumer good like Coca-Cola, and we do not understand the culture behind it. We didn't understand what rock and roll was. We didn't understand what hip hop was, because there was no music journalism. There was no internet. Yeah. For you to read about anything, the magazine would take 1 week from US to reach us. So by the time we didn't even know what magazines to buy. We didn't know what publications were, were back then. We were just being pumped with music and said, oh, this is cool, buy this, dress like this, walk like this, talk like this, literally. So for us to tell kids today, it's like that was a totally different planet. It was a totally different planet that in 1990s and 2022.
Yeah. And I suppose, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, but that's what I think the downfall was for me listening to any rap that was not American. It was people try to imitate America.
Yeah.
And in rap, I think it's difficult. You can't do it. And that's why if you localize it, it makes more sense. And it sounds better, the cadence is better, the flow is better, and you're not trying hard and putting on this fake accent. It just, for me, when I heard the fake accents, I was like, really?
Yeah.
Really? I think, I should have immersed myself in, or spent more time learning more and finding better quality stuff.
Yep.
That's something I wanted to talk about further. But what you would?
No, I was going to say it's about identity, isn't it? That's
Yes.
It's so
Identity.
key, right?
It's so key.
Yeah.
The whole hip hop ideology was identity. So when they were kind of the guys who pioneered rap, when they heard people rapping in their own vernacular, Japanese hip hop industry was huge. After America, I think Japan was one of the biggest. And when they heard Japanese guys rapping in their vernacular, they were like, oh, this is cool. We never thought, it'll evolve in this way. And when the whole world started rapping in their own vernacular, they were like, wow, this is something we are very amazed and we're very happy about, because you guys understood that you had to represent who you are.
Fantastic, right? Yeah.
That was a beautiful thing.
I'm going to make you perform now. Or ask you whether you're ready, whether you're prepared.
Or for the Tamil rap.
Yes.
The Tamil rap, I'll do one that today now has become the blueprint for Tamil hip hop, taken from my Tamil rap album called Vallavan, and taken from a remix that I did of the song called Madai Thirundu. And this verse is from the Madai Thirundu song. And I'm going to do the chorus. So what classically hip hoppers do is like how DJ Kool Herc took the tracks from the Godfather of Soul, James Brown. He took James Brown's tracks, two records, and then he started to spin the breaks between the songs. So he had James Brown as an influence. So what I did was I went to my Tamil music god, and and I loved his songs. I thought, okay, let's remix a very classic song, and that song was about artistic struggles, a struggle that artists goes through. So today, that track in the Tamil hip hop album that I did in 2006, which was a full-fledged Tamil hip hop album, has become the blueprint for Tamil rap worldwide. So that song is called Madai Thirundu, meaning breaking dams. Like water dams, and letting the water flow out, like your creative energy flow out like a river. Yeah. So we took that song. So that song, the chorus and the verse would be, damn, it's gonna blow. Tavam nadi alai nan, baby, you should know. Kuvam siru kuyil nan, isai kalanyan, enna ஆசைகள் ஆயிரம் நினைத்தது பழித்தது. Oh, எவனுக்குமே தெரியாது, உனக்கு சொன்னால் புரியாது. Now take you back, flashback, when I was just little, my central kampong, next to the Kali temple, I was a mokke gundu paya, enga amma appa chellam, பட்டணம் மாறி போனோம், என மழை வந்தா வெள்ளம், புதிய பழைய உலகங்கள் மாற, ஆங்கிலமும் தமிழும் கலாச்சாரங்கள் மோத, கண்டுபிடிச்சனடா இந்த ஹிப் ஹாப் அன்று முதல் இன்று வரும் மக்க don't stop, மக்க don't quit, சோதனை வேதனை என் கண்ணி துடிக்க, அவன் தும்பிக்கை என் நம்பிக்கை, குவாலலும் போ சென்னை லண்டன் தமிழன் MC முதல்வன் வளவன் ராப் இசை கலை வீதியின் சம்பிரதாயம் மடை திறந்து நதி அலை போல் என் கவிதைகள் தாவும்.
Whoa, brilliant.
So that verse, I just encompassed my entire trip of how I was, the story I told you, I was a Tamil boy, little Gundu boy.
And all that,
the
all
whole
that,
story.
yeah.
So that verse was about my journey.
Nice.
Wow, that is something else. Thank you very much.
No
for that.
problem.
Yeah, that's not. We're not going to end with that. ask you to sing it later, though. Later.
No problem.
So Poetic Ammo then, I mean, it was hugely successful. And that was 1997.
Yeah.
But then maybe tell us a little bit about, your journey and how where you guys are today, actually.
After my schooling days in VI, in fact, when I was right in school, when I heard the hip hop music, I was 14 years old with my senior and my camping trip. He brought me and I listened to Run DMC.
What year was that? If
That
I can
was
ask.
no problem. That was I'm 47 now. That was when I was 14. So what is that?
Maths,
32.
anyone? Okay.
33 years ago.
33. Yeah, actually, yeah.
It's a long time,
yeah,
yeah.
you're right. Wow, she's very, very good at math.
I know.
That was quick. That was quick. So 33, exactly 33 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
So when I heard that music, that whole thing just engulfed my mind, my space. I thought, okay, it was like a trance. I just wanted to hear more and more rap, go and buy more cassettes, more CDs, and all that. And during that time, there was a rap competition. So they held the first rap competition in Malaysia in 1992.
Not bad.
Oh,
right?
That was that was the
92.
first.
Okay.
Yeah, 1992. It was called Rapping Bad. It was held in Central Market. So
What was on the radio at that time? What was the rap that you were listening to? Because Run DMC was an influence. Were you finding mixtapes from Kool Herc and things
No,
like that?
nothing.
Okay.
Because nothing that was happening in America reached any part of where we were here in Malaysia, musically or even in general pop culture-wise. It would take years to reach. For example, if something was a cultural phenomenon or a pop, what do you call that? Vogue. If there's something was Vogue in US, it'll only reach us 1 year.
Okay.
If it was even a pair of sneakers or a style or a song, because there was no internet and everything was mailed. Someone had to go to US and say, hey, you got to dress like this.
Right.
You got to talk like this. That's what's happening in the States. And that's how different the world was.
Right.
So I know we didn't know about Kool Herc only 5-10 years later.
Right.
Because nobody would come and tell us the story. Nobody wanted to listen to the story. They just wanted to know what the music was.
Yeah.
What T-shirts you're going to wear, what pants you're going to wear, what Walkman is in trend. So
I don't know who Ram DMC is.
Run DMC.
Run DMC, sorry.
No problem, Abhiya. They were no problem. They
My
were
ignorance, yes.
no problem. They were
I
one
think
of
you'll
the
like
first.
them, actually. I think you'll like them. The way they got the crowd moving, what they did with the brand Adidas, you probably know that story.
They were
better.
the first, I would say, hip hop group to go full blown Americana. They were the household name for hip hop. They were the first to achieve that status, and big brands like Adidas and everybody came in. So they are a three-member group. Yeah. So that's the first album that I heard. So I'm sorry, I'm a bit lost. Where did we start?
No. I tend to do that. I'll go all over the place.
No,
but-
don't worry. No, we were talking about Poetic Ammo and...
Yeah, how did Poetic
and
Ammo?
how-
So
what happened?
when Poetic Ammo, I'll take it from the first rap competition in 1992, which I participated,
Yeah.
and I became the first rap champion in the first rap competition in Malaysia.
Nice.
So
No way.
yeah.
Congratulations. No
Thanks.
one put that on your CV. They only talk about Indian awards and all that. Not something important like this.
Thank you. So that was a big achievement.
Wow, that's
bigger for me.
amazing.
Yeah, and I was.
You were in school?
Yeah, I was actually no. I finished my SPM. I was 18 years old, I think. Yeah, 18 years old. Finished school, and I told my mom I want to go to participate in rap competition. She was cooking, and she was telling, yeah, whatever. And I went for the competition. I told my auntie to come because I was a kid, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I won. And the next day,
Did you perform something that you wrote?
yeah, something. I wrote my original lyrics.
Oh wow.
Original lyrics with music, and that's how I won. And I did beatbox. In 1992, nobody in the streets heard something like this. What did I do? I did wait. When I did that on the mic, people were like, "Oh."
Whoa.
Yeah, but Central Market at that time was a bit, how shall I say, a bit rowdy, and everybody was, street street mentality. So the whole street, gathered together. They thought, okay, what's happening? And then I went to the mic, and someone was, shouting, "Oh, Fatty, make sure you do something like that." And I was like nervous, and then I get dissed, Then I was like, okay, take to the mic, and people were just like, talking, and there's a lot of ambient noise. And then when I did my beatbox, people just stopped. The whole crowd went quiet, and they were like, okay, this dude just brought some shit. and this was brand new. They've never heard that.
Yeah.
Never. Imagine the first time a kid goes to the microphone in a street in Kuala Lumpur and do a beatbox.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know what it was called.
Central Market or
Central Market.
In the indoor or outside?
Outside, right?
Right, just outside the car park.
No. Behind Central Market, there's this small place. I don't even know what's it called. It's I think.
But quite happening at that time, I
At
suppose.
that time happening.
Right? Yeah.
Because that was
Very
happening.
place.
Central Market was happening
Yeah.
with the Hart Street. Everybody has gone to Central Market.
Yes.
It's a beautiful place. So everybody gathered together, and that was the first
I'm
time.
going to make you do that boombox again.
No problem.
When you're ready again later.
No problem.
That was amazing, sensational actually.
Thank you. So all this I learned just from listening to cassettes. There were no CDs at that time.
What was the cassette that was on repeat aside from Run DMC?
After Run DMC, maybe, I'm not sure. I only had money to buy that. But before that, there was breakdance, during the breakdance era.
Right.
So when I heard, in fact, even before Run DMC, what happened was there was this particular song that I would not call hip hop, but it had hip hop beats to it, and it was remixed by actually a great jazz artist, Herbie Hancock. So what he did was he took. I heard of him. Herbie Hancock did a remix, and the song was called Rocket. So what he did was he put urban beats into like a synth riff. So the music went like Rocket, something like that. It happened like that. So when I listened to the music, I was doing it with my mouth, and my mom was like, "What is this guy doing?" So that was Rocket, and slowly I developed beatboxing skills by listening to Run DMC and all that. So
So you're out there trying to pop and block and all
yeah,
that.
did all that thing. From that rap competition, I got an opportunity to write for a Malay rapper. She was a female. I think she was the first female rapper. She was signed to EMI. I was very young, and they said, "Hey, Yogi, we want someone to come and write lyrics for this project we're doing." So I actually went to EMI. It was a record label, one of the big record labels that time, called EMI. And I went to EMI in Damansara in my school uniform. And I met the A&R manager there, spoke to him, and that was my first experience walking into a label. I co-wrote some of the songs, and at the age of 18 or 19, I was an co-executive producer. I didn't even know what that title was, but I'm thankful to the person, Azman Abu Hassan, who gave me credit for that. And then I went on to, there were one or two offers for us to join this group called Crash Course, of which we didn't take. Then there was the day where I met Paul Moss, and eventually Paul Moss and Kenny Tay in PJ, and Kenny's a music company that's called Kenny Music. And from then onwards, we got signed as a recording artist. And another very key influential person called Ahmad Izam Umar.
Yes, I know him.
So Izam, Kenny, and Paul were the key people in Positive Tone. So Positive Tone, Positive Tone is one of the most influential and how shall I say, one of the core key labels that came out with the golden age of independent music in Malaysia.
So Poetic Ammo went on for how many years?
From 97 to around 2002 or 3. We did 3 albums under Positive Tone. Positive Tone was bought over by EMI. And then after that, we did not hit the sales that they wanted. And I also went through a change of I went through a realization, my first business realization. All this time, Jaden, it was just music and fun. It was just music and fun.
I really want to talk, like you've just brought this up, I forgot about that challenge. I wanted to understand that more. Working with the label, they've got KPIs, they've got goals, and they're just screwing with your creativity. Like, what is that like?
I was blessed to have an A&R manager and the boss, Ahmad Izomoma and Paul. Paul, who was the first person who was the main architect of putting Positive Tone together. They were very music driven. They were artists at heart. They wanted to put out very cool music. So when you're artistically driven, with money being the second priority, you let your artists do whatever they want. So that's what we did for the first 3 albums. Then when the funds started drying up and their business prowessness took a mature level and they realized, okay, this is not viable anymore. We got to make money. We got to sell records. And then we also understood that, okay, we were very lucky to have record label heads, who gave us, who gave us all the studio time we needed, and who gave us all the best video clips, who funded us, without actually looking at the P&L. They said, okay, let's go and do great music, Yeah.
So lucky you started with that, right?
I was so lucky, Amiga. Mr. Izam and Paul
very
and
talented.
Very talented, very good people, nice people. They actually took care of us. They didn't cheat us. They could have tied us down. There was no there was no, how shall I say, ulterior motives like that would be associated with record labels.
So you guys got really lucky then.
Very lucky. Very lucky. We got good people. So, but at the towards the end of Positive Tone, when it got sold to EMI, all the artists understood, okay, music is one thing as a passion. Then there's music business, which is just business. It's got to make dollars and cents. It's got to be viable. You got to, you got to make sure that it makes sense.
So are you good at that side of things? Or?
Absolutely hopeless. Absolutely
Welcome
hopeless.
to the club.
Is it?
Oh, terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah. Because you do what you love doing, and then you realize, but there's also a very important aspect of it. So you're learning, I suppose, or you've learned. I assume you've learned already.
Yes, today I would say even till today at I'm 47 now, I'm still learning, but I've reached a mature level where I can mind map any creative process in a fiscal lens. So I can sit down and say, okay, how does this work? How can we commercialize this? Only at this age. But before this, I've lost so much of money. I would have lost to piracy alone. The Vallavan album, I would have lost a few $100,000. To my distributor,
that is terrible. Please repeat the caution that you would repeat to everybody about pirated music. Okay.
I can't say it enough. Don't pirate music. You literally are taking and stealing away the salary of artists, all creative artists.
Okay, I've just been reminded that I called something boombox when I should have said beatbox. Okay. You didn't correct me.
It's okay.
So I apologize. I'm learning.
It's okay.
Okay, I wanted to ask you, moving to India a little bit. So I was reading the names of all the people you've met, and you've met some amazing people, but the name A.R. Rahman obviously stands out where I'm concerned. So how did you meet him? What was it like? All of that.
With Rahman sir, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I think I still remember the call came in. Nitya, my wife, who's sitting here, she's a hardcore Rahman fan. Hardcore in the sense they've got a name, Ambiga, for hardcore Rahman fans. They call them Rahmaniacs, which Rahman and Maniacs. She's one of them, bona fide. And she's a Rahmaniac to an extent. She irritates me because I can't listen to any other music in the car except for Rahman music. So I still remember when the call came in, it was the sound engineer in Rahman Sir's studio. And he said, Yogi, this is Mr. Siva, I'm calling from Rahman Sir's studio. I said, oh, okay, sir, Vanakkam. Rahman Sir wants to meet you. I was like, okay. May I know what is it for? Then I realized, oh, Nithya was going to ask me, why didn't I ask him what is it for, you idiot? So she came in my head and was like, okay, what is this for? She said, it's for one of the movies. Okay, what movie is this? He said, it's for Rajini sir's movie. I was like, okay. Can I get back to you, like, when I'm going to come and all? Yeah, please. So I go back and tell her. Then I said, hey, I've got this, call from Rahman sir's studio. It's for a movie show, should I do it? She gave me this stare like, Kali came out. She's like, can there be a bigger idiot than you? Then I was like,
why are you asking?
Why are you asking? Leave right now. You stupid idiot. And I was like, no, how should I know? I know it's a movie chance. Then she was like, okay, you need to go now. And she was like, and then I left to Chennai, Bigam. So when I went to Chennai is an amazing place. Maybe one of these days, we by chance we are there. You should see the magnitude and this factory that is this creative, planet by its machine. Yeah. It's a machine beyond a machine. It's like, it's unbelievable. Chennai and India, in some pockets where, there's a cinema and music, they live and breathe creative arts. So when I reached India, just to understand and to assimilate into the pace and pulse of what India is, in all forms of creativity, visuals, fine arts, music, hip hop, food, it's an overwhelming experience. Just for you to just log in and understand how they operate, it took me at least 10 years. So going into Rahman Sir's studio, I had to go with an understanding of how that world works. So I had some prior experience going to India in the Tamil serial world, where I was involved in one company. So when I entered Rahman Sir's studio, the beautiful thing about him is that he meets all the artists that he works with. So he sat me down like this and he said, Yogi, what do you do? Like what software do you use, what music you're working on and all. So it was a very pleasant, relaxed atmosphere, and his working environment and his studio is buzzing around, but he's got a very very home atmosphere, because the studio is just behind his house, and he's built a studio which is an extension from his father's studio. And certain works happens in the original studio, and the extension studio, it's like a multi-million-dollar studio complex, bigger, that has been built by a company that builds the best of studios in US.
Wow.
So it's 3 stories, and he's got this state-of-the-art mixer, and the best money can buy, man has bought it and put it in there.
Wow.
So the amazing energy about him and his
really
his energy is amazing, in the sense that he just wants to be the best.
His daughters sing as well, right?
His daughter, his son now composes. So being in that atmosphere, sitting down with him, discussing it, and it was a Rajinikanth's movie. This is another mountain. This person called Rajinikanth, this brand.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that was
directed me, because I'm looking at him going.
He's a huge
You're
mountain.
definitely not Indian if you don't know Rajinikanth.
So there's this song that is he's the music director for the entire soundtrack for Rajini's movie. So I'm getting the opportunity to rap in it, and the heroine of the movie is Aishwarya Rai. You know Aishwarya Rai? Right. She was the one of the first Miss Universe.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
Leave the room now. Okay? If you don't know who Aishwarya Rai is.
Indian Miss Universe. So I'm sitting down with him, had that conversation, and then he told me what's the song situation, took that down, wrote the lyrics, and then did some amendments here and there. So he is a person that's quite hands-on. So he actually recorded me. He sat down And instead of an engineer, he was at the table, a recording table, and I was rapping. And he said, "Okay, Yogi." I'm trying to do a mimicry of his voice. "Okay, Yogi, let's start. Can we, do the few lines?" So I just went, no, boom, boom, robo-da, robo-da. It was like, oh, that sounds great. Oh, that's amazing. Let's go for it. Then he recorded me. We took a couple of hours because I'm, very, very, particular about all the details. And that few hours we took was the first experience I had with him. And then he took a break in between because he had to go and pray.
Oh, wow.
So he prays. He prays like 5 times. I've seen him every time he takes a break. But one thing that I learned from him in that first experience, and I met him once again, was that his discipline towards work is amazing. It's amazing.
That's nice.
I tell you something that I've not said in any interview. So I'm recording and writing lyrics for this particular song, Yandiran. Then he comes to me and said, "Yogi, I'm doing this other movie. It's for Amir Khan. He's a huge Hindi actor." And he said, "Can you just do some rap in between?" I said, "Can, sir. I'll try writing it." So he's doing one movie in one studio. He walks and then he's doing another movie in another studio. Meaning like he just take another walk and he's probably doing 3 at one time, right? Around 2 or 3. Wow. In all this, there's something else happening. There's a bombing happening in one of the hotels in Bombay. I forgot. Yeah, that bombing, you remember?
Yes,
right?
of course.
So this man, he's walking, doing 3 movies, and he looks like nothing has affected him. Then me at that time, in my state of mind, I'm sitting down thinking, why this guy undisturbed? Doesn't he have emotions? At that time, I was thinking. Then today, I understand. I understood what it takes to be at the top of the mountain. You're focused. You got 3 movies. And he's just flowing between the music. And everybody's like on the TV, in the entire studio complex, we were like all glued on the TV. We're like, oh, looking, there's bombing happening, the SWAT team is going.
He was not distracted, huh?
He's just like, okay, I'm in the zone, I'm just moving one movie. Then that's one of the experience and takeaways that I got from him. I'm focused on this, this is what I need to be doing. Until today, that is what he's still doing. His core competency is something that he gravitates to. He goes on the fringe, but he doesn't go very far from it.
They did a tribute show. You were there, right? I saw you in the audience for A.R. Rahman.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
With your wife, I think.
Yes,
yeah.
She was crying away. It was raining and she was crying. Mad woman.
But it was really. Did you perform?
No.
But could you give us a few bars of that song?
That song, I really don't know that much of that song because I hardly performed that song. The chorus just went boom, boom, robo-da, robo-da, boom, boom, robo-da, robo. I forgot the lines.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
don't worry. Not to worry. You can sing something else later for us. Do one more later for us. But what a fascinating man.
That is A.R. Rahman sir. And his humility, his humbleness is something that aspires a lot of artists. The higher he goes, the more soft-spoken he is. I think life also took a toll in the sense that he's learned a lot of things, and he's humble, and we like that when that power and fame comes to a great person, he still stays the same. In fact, in a lot of ways, he is toned down in how he approaches or talks. If you see his younger interviews, maybe it's a bit more. Not to say louder, a bit more intense, but now he's like a very wise yogi. He's just, I've seen it, everything. Yeah, this, that, and all that.
You mentioned praying. Sorry, praying. Like I'm not a very spiritual or religious person, but I find that people of that level, that when they're at the elite of their industry or whatever, they have something, whether it's a meditation, they've got a strict, meticulous routine, they wake up at a time, they break here, whether it's prayer, and that prayer is a way to just cleanse their mind. This is something
I agree.
Yeah,
I do that nowadays a lot because in my religion, I think it has taken a big deviation of what the religion is. So I go back to the original teachings of Hinduism and try to sit down, meditate, and I also take a lot of knowledge from Buddhist monks on YouTube. There's some massive, huge Buddhist
massive.
monks.
On
Amazing.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. There's this great Tibetan Buddhist monk, and he talks about how you should tame the monkey mind. Oh, that's an awesome stuff. I tell all my friends, because we got this massive overload of data and information every day coming in, right?
Yeah.
So he just talks about just calming your mind, because your mind is a monkey,
Yeah.
and how to do it. And he has done wonders for me from a YouTube video.
Wow.
He's a huge Tibetan monk. So as it coming back to you, prayer and whatever ritual that we do, we artists need
Centering yourself,
centering, yeah.
basically.
Do you like take a time out during your day? Because I know your days must be insane. But do you make it a point where you've got a schedule, you wake up, you do this, you do that? Like, are you that person?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
Sort of. Maybe not very rigid, because obviously I do a lot of things in a day, so it really depends on whether I'm dictated by my work, unfortunately, during the week. Yeah, so
But
a
do you
little
do-
bit like that.
But
Some-
you take time to
Oh
score.
yes, that, yeah. My daughter will tell you about that. But yeah, because that's why I understand when you tell me it's meditative, and it allows you to it's time out for you as well.
Because she's one of the inspirations for all artists in Malaysia. You know, because what Ambika is doing for common good, without any biasness. So she going through the chaotic world. Now I just want to understand. Okay, you take time.
Oh, definitely, and that helped me through all of that.
All of that.
Yeah.
Huh? Wow, amazing.
Without a doubt. But there you are. But so maybe coming now to your social work, the other aspect of your life, which I think is also, which probably comes through your music as well, in your music. But because you have so many ideas, and you, when we speak, right? How do we improve the lives of some of these children who feel lost and forgotten, communities who are abandoned, that kind of thing? And how do we improve their lives? How do we use music, videos, whatever, to reduce racial, tensions and so on and so forth? So you have thought about all these things.
Yes.
And I'm wondering whether all of that also influences your music. And where did you get this social, this urge to do social work? Is it from your dad? Because
My dad for a long time in his younger years, the Red Crescent movement and his selflessness. He was a very, very temperamental man, Ambika. He too much actually, but he's a funny person. He had two halves. At home he's very strict, but when floods happen, he will just go and with Red Crescent, and he'll get into this truck that I still remember, and he'll give out biscuits. He'll go and do all his social work, selfless.
So you grew up with that.
I grew up with that,
Yeah.
and mom as well. She in a lot of stuff that she does in religious aspects or any other thing. Mother was too how shall I say, dharmic, altruistic. Too much in a sense. She'll see dogs she wants to feed. There's birds coming to the house she wants to feed. Any poor people,
So you grew up
everything.
with that, yeah.
And there's a bit too much given to me, because my wife always tells me, "You are an idiot. You will give everything to these people." And a lot of my life, I've lost a lot of money, a lot of time, and I lost a lot
It doesn't matter,
of.
does it? Really, in a sense.
In a sense, I think the balance should be there. You can't give too much. You can't keep too much.
Of course.
That balance is what I only realized a couple of years from now. But at the start, it was all about serving a greater good. So in my music and a lot of my religion and hip hop and all that, I had to make sure that I don't put myself in the center.
You don't, which is the next thing I want to say. See, that is why, I mean, it's not me, myself, I with you at all. This entire interview, it's nearly
Thank
1.5 hours. And it hasn't been that. It's been about your art, your passion, your,
Yeah.
and ultimately, doing good, which
Yeah.
is where what I know about you is that actually,
Thank you,
rather
thank
than
you.
the music.
Thank you.
So I really think it'd be wonderful if you could do a video. You know, you wanted to do a video
Yeah.
which will appeal to
Yep.
the youth,
Yep.
etc. So we should do it.
Definitely,
At
definitely.
some point, yeah.
I was telling Ambiga that the video and the stuff that I wanted to do was basically on social upward mobility. So for people who are just stuck in that social strata who cannot move up, and simple things like English helped me, but how can I bring this simple kind of survival English to a lot of the youth, especially at-risk youth, so that they can understand simple things. And simple aspects or mechanism we can do is that try to understand what Beatles are singing, or even what Michael Jackson is singing. So they will sing songs, improve their English, and understand how to
That is
communicate.
so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
What's taken it?
Yeah. So let's say what are those songs that we all grew up in that was really viral or very fun to sing about. So we can get kids who don't understand English to sing songs and understand simple words, and then from there spur their interest into listening to English tracks, and they listen to more English tracks and understand, okay, there's a message to it, and there's a structure to language and all this stuff like
So
that.
improving communication
skills.
etc. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a whole big strata of people that don't know how to communicate, and formal communication is so far. So at least we could bridge that gap, stuff like that I wanted to do.
It's fantastic. And also, what's next? I know what's next, so
Oh.
maybe you should tell our viewers what's next.
Just before me telling what's
Yes.
next, I just wanted to share this one important
Sure.
part. I always tell creative industry people who come into the creative fold, that music has a very important role in education, in society as a whole. This is one of the examples that I would give a young kid coming to me and telling me why my parents telling me not to do music, this creative arts thing will never put food on the plate, and what good is this music thing? It's not like that the essential services, like we went to the pandemic, right? Essential services are number one priority. Hell with everything else, man.
Yeah.
Musicians, everything, essential services. We are here today, in the creative industry, all of us, the cameraman, the editor, everybody. We are not essential. So this is what I tell the kids. Look here, it's been taught to you the wrong way. Okay, creative industry, music is actually building blocks. So I told a kid, tell me your ABCs. They said, ABC. He said, no, tell it to me like how you learned it. He said A, B, C, D. And I told him, that's how education starts. It starts with music.
You're right.
You learn your ABCs with music. Without music, there is no education. I said, that is fundamental. They don't tell you that though. Then when you die, everybody's going to sing about you. Whether it's any religion, whatever they sing, it's going to end in music. Right? Okay? And it's going to start in music, it's going to end in music. And if we decide to go to war because people are going to come at our shores and try to kill our wives, rape our children, they're not going to go to engineers or the doctors, the lawyers. They're going to come to musicians to write the songs, to bring us in a valorous effort, because they have to take and crunch our entire experience of what we are and put it in rhymes and songs. This is the role that music plays, and that is a great thing. So coming back to what we were saying, like how music and what I'm doing is, this has to fit with the entire ecosystem. That's what is not being taught. And that little part that I did was, coming back to this rapping in Tamil and Malay and all that, it got a lot of youths to actually write in their vernacular, which would have never had happened.
That's amazing to hear.
Today, if you would have, I go home sleeping very peacefully, thinking that there's this 3 generations that I help. I'm the 4th generation Tamil rapper. I'm a chief judge in this Tamil rap competition that's being done in Astro.
Exactly, yes.
And they told me, I realized from there that I'm the 4th generation Tamil rapper. So 4 generations, these kids would have not written in Tamil, kids who never know Tamil, but they started writing because of hip hop.
Right.
And the same thing with Malay rappers and Chinese rappers. So that's something that what hip hop and music has done. If not, nobody would have touched, because those languages like Mandarin, they're classical. They are
Correct.
too complex.
But that program actually, interestingly, was it Mark Lutz and
He was the brainchild, Mark.
My goodness, and may his soul rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Great person.
So I'd like to pay tribute to him.
To him, yeah.
Today, I've met his wife, Dasha. And so, could you tell us about that program? Because I watched it, and a lot of youngsters were coming forward and wanting to perform.
Yeah.
And you're a judge. Maybe just tell us a little bit about that.
Mark called me and said, Yogi, we're doing season 2 of Rap Porkalam, which means rap battlefield. And he said, we want you to come on season 2 as the judge, because the first season took shape very well. We want to bring it to the next biggest evolution and then go international. So Mark gave me a call and said, you got to be the chief judge, and this is the format of the show. And Mark actually was one of the key persons instrumental in changing, I would say, this is the vibe and from the community feedback, that he was instrumental in changing how shall I say, the procurement of content, rather than coming from India, but instead honing local talent.
Wow.
So this was one of his brainchild. He said, okay, let's do a rap show, because Tamil rap started from here. Let's get all these kids and let's give them an opportunity.
Amazing, yeah.
So he all credit goes to him and the Astro team behind it. And it's so sad. I can still remember he wrote an email to me. He said, Yogi, I'm going to leave this place. I'm going to go to Tatler. Work there, and I wish you the best. I'm forwarding you, in referral to, referring you to my next, person who's going to take my seat. I wish you the best, and let's stay in touch. I spoke to him, and the week after he passed away.
Yeah, it's very
Tragic.
But
But what he started is what, a show that I am a part of, and all these
correct.
kids were.
Yes.
So his legacy.
Pay him that small
definitely.
tribute and
everyone.
explain his role
Yeah.
in that. So thank you for that mention of Mark Lutz. And so, as I said,
What's next? Next for me is something that I've been toiling for past 10 years, of which I think I have to thank all my fans and all the people who have helped me sustain my business, especially post-pandemic, and also thank my wife. She's still sticking with me. It's a magnum opus album that I titled Mantrahood.
nice.
It's a simple word, a compound word of mantra and hood. So hip hop comes from the hood. And
Yes,
everything that's associated with this suffix is very positive. Brotherhood, motherhood,
Yes.
neighborhood, all that. So I took that suffix and I added a mantra. So mantra today, that word is just already taken into a common English language. And also business mantra, into business world as well. So the word mantra actually means that which binds the mind. So that's simple explanation for the mantra.
Yeah.
So choruses in hip hop music is mantra. You repeat something again and again. It's mantra. Anything positive that you repeat, to fix your mind onto is a mantra. So I took these two things. When I was growing up, simple things they'll say, Mada Pita Gurudev, which means mother, father, teacher, and then God. So simple things like that. And also truth, honesty, all these things are mantra, So I took these two words, mantrahood, and I actually copyrighted it, Abhiga, in India, so nobody can release an album called, This is another thing about copyright as well. So Mantrahood, the album, is my magnum opus. It's an album that I have taken elements of fine art music of Tamil. So when you go to a temple, you hear the Nadaswaram, which is the loudest wooden instrument. I think, that instrument, sitar, Veena. You're right. Wow, very good. Veena, Then I've taken another instrument called gadam, which is a gadam.
Correct.
Her pronunciation is really on there. All these instruments I've taken,
Fantastic.
and I've got world-class instrument players in India. Gone to Chennai, in the studio there, and this took me a long time because I had to go in there, find the best of instrument players, talk to them, make them understand the music, and get that music and hip hop music to fuse, and also get the message right. So this is something that I'm doing for the art form to define the next evolution of Tamil hip hop. So when I can take this music, go to New York, and say okay, this is what Tamil hip hop is, because it can't be just you rapping on hip hop music. The music has got to change. It's got to have some traditional elements into it as well. It can't just be hip hop, music, and then you rap in Tamil. The music has got to have Tamil in it. So how to do that? You take traditional instruments and infuse it. So when he hears Nadaswaram, when someone in LA or New York, hears Nadaswaram, he'll be like, "What is that?" "Oh, that's the sound of my people." So I'm going to put some kompang in it, and as well, so put some Malaysian element, and then that's what Mantrahood is going to be. So for me to do that,
oh my God, it sounds amazing.
Thank you.
It sounds really, really.
Thank you.
It's going to be spectacular.
Thank you. So we've already done 70% of it. The first single will be out in another 45
I can't
days.
wait. Honestly, I can't wait, because I love the idea of classical music with this, because
Thank
to
you.
me that is so rich, actually. All classical music. So I'm very interested to.
Thank you. So that would the album has tracks that targets every generation. So we've got tracks that we call like Fine Wine, because that's some laid back track with Veena, with music. I don't want this loud stuff. I just want to sit down. I had a very stressful day, and there's one track like that. So we got it. We call that the Fine Wine track, because that's what you want to do. Then you've got tracks that only 17 years old and above, the teenage alpha generation kids will listen. We do our sampling, market research. We'll have sampling, we'll have a focus group and all. So we'll play the tracks that only the teenagers like to Generation X. They don't understand it at all. Then we'll play the ones with the Veena to the young alpha generations. They'll be like, okay, that's boring. We'll switch the tracks. They'll blow their minds.
Oh, yes.
The teenagers, when they hear something like EDM and very energetic music, they'll be like, "Oh man, this is the stuff." And when we play to older generations, they'll be like, "Okay, that's it." So that was a challenge that we managed to crack. We've got a track for each generation, and that has always been my format, to make tracks for people that are in the circle of my life. I've got people who are 50s, and then I've got children from my friends, so those kids want to listen to music. So when they grab the album, it's got a very good message to it, and that's what's going to be coming out in the next 9 months, starting from the next 45 days. Mantrahood.
Fantastic. I can't wait, because you sent me the video and it looks really, really amazing.
Thank you.
I have to stop using the word amazing. It's not good enough for you.
Thank you.
But
Ambika.
one last question from me, and then the final question from Jaden.
Yeah.
My question is, when you started, as you said earlier, you had boombox, you had, and then you had to write all your lyrics and everything, because you didn't have the internet, you didn't have, but the world today now, the digital world, how has that changed you as an artist?
It has changed me immensely in a lot of positive ways, and also a lot of negative effects that it's brought. A lot of producers from the year 2000 onwards are totally irrelevant or unknown in 2022. So to me, I always explain, and we in our lot of marketing, business discussions, and a lot of social related stuff, and our regular Tetare sessions, something that I would like to put in a very concise, clear way is a graph. In those days, whatever our dads listened to, we'll listen to. We listen to the records, the CDs will come to us. So the graph was just like going like this, in a very linear way. uncles listen, they'll pass it on to us. Whatever our grandfathers spoke of, our fathers will, would agree to or know of. Today, the graph is no more linear, it's exponential. Whatever we listen to, our kids don't listen to. They don't. They just don't. The teenagers don't.
But do you think it comes back? Because I remember when I was growing up, I pushed back on all of the music my parents were listening to at a certain age group, but then I just circled back around, and that's all I listen to now. Listening to new music, I struggle with. But do you think that
it'll come back?
You're talking to the 17-year-olds, that the alpha
generation, yeah.
Yeah. But then once they get to 25, 30, they'll come back around, do you think? Or is this a whole new breed?
To me, the alpha generations who have not hit the 20s, I don't know how the teens will then look towards the alpha generation who are already in their 20s. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, because it's now hit a turbo boost too fast to think. Things that used to change in a yearly basis to us now changes in a day. Apps that are like a billion ringgit will suddenly fall in value, half a value, just because one key influencer said, I'm not using this app. This has never happened. It's a big precedence. It never happened. Things don't change in a day in a global economic way or in a global social way. So like how you said, do you think it'll happen? I wouldn't know, because this generation alpha has to grow up to become 20s, and then we don't know what the next new generation is going to be like. So I struggle with this daily. So for me, I always like to sit down, put it in numbers and study it. And to me, in the digital world that you're asking how it has changed me, the relevance of people in 2000 and 2022, the gap is so huge because the graph has become exponential. So since the gap has become so huge, the alpha generation are living on a totally different planet, and we are a totally different planet. And our commonality, our common values is not clear. It's very blurred.
But don't you think that music can be that common? Because through generations, sampling has always been a thing, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk about like disco and funk, then you listen to 10 years later, the kids are listening to the pop music, but it's essentially the same format or samples of the old songs. They don't know that song. If you play that song for them, they don't like it, but I like this new format. Don't you think that there is that similarity that's going across? Well, music is bringing us all the way through. Do you think it still exists?
It does, and it's because a lot of producers are tried and tested melodies and styles of music, and they're bringing it back. And when they bring it back, this generation sees it as new because they've never heard this before.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So music is doing that in a positive way, but the ugly side of music is that it does not bring positive culture. It is now turned into a culture of flex. They call it flex culture.
Right.
So they want people who are the fastest, the funniest, the sexiest, the raunchiest, and all that. There's an extreme thing that they want, and extreme is what they're looking at. So that is very dangerous.
Yeah.
Meaning you're just going too fast, the fastest car.
Yeah.
Where are you going to? I don't know. I just want the fastest car.
Yeah.
So that is a big problem. So that is the alpha generation. And they're also like super woke. They want to question everything, but they don't want to learn the fundamentals.
Yeah.
So then you've got the people who know everything, but they don't want people to question it. The traditionalists, the orthodox people. So right in the middle is when good leaders come about and say, hey, it's a good balance we need. We need good balance. These two people. And that's what I think in a global aspect, and also even in at home right here, we need people to just bring these two generations and bring balance.
Do you think
wise
analysis? Yeah, I do that every day, because to me, we need alpha generation. We need a generation that questions everything, who's like really energetic, and then we need our foundations, our culture as well. But if we don't bring balance to it, it's just going to tear each other apart.
So from the alpha generation, the musicians that are coming out of the alpha generation, knowledge is the key. They're challenging, which is great. We love that. But do you think that they're doing the research? They're looking back at the history?
No, absolutely not. Because we have failed to tell them our legacy in their language.
Right.
If our objective is to make them understand, we gotta understand them. If they can only listen in a particular style, we have to tell them in their style. We can't say, no, this is how we teach, this is how we've been teaching all this while, you've got to learn it this way. They're never gonna listen. They're rebels. Alpha generation is a rebel. See, and every day I have to understand how am I gonna tell them, reach them in a very cool way. So that's one of the conduits is music. But music also, like a lot of other aspects in the world, everything from medicine to agriculture, the greedy corporate world, sorry to say, is taken over. It's just taken away and said, no, I don't care for all this value. I just want to sell. Make me do what, give me what sells.
Yeah.
So this balance has to be brought by good leaders and say, no. Stop, stop. For example, we should have stopped smoking a long time ago.
Yeah.
Whatever that reform that's bringing here, or sugar, no sugar drinks, carbonated drinks.
Yeah.
It's insane the amount of sugar, but we don't, right?
Yeah.
So this kind of balance, right, is what we need. Good people and good social leaders, globally at home to come and say, okay, we need good balance. I always think about that because the music that I put out will go viral, and some of the things that I don't say or don't advocate is anything to do with gangsterism, blatant alcoholic content. Meaning, we spoke off the camera, right? There's consuming alcohol and then going off the hook.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that midway, right, is something that we're missing. So we're selling the fastest cars, the most sweetened content, the most expensive shoes, but then we're not telling these kids, hey,
none of that is good for you.
none of that is good for you if you don't know your core values. So that is what I think, that in my music and a lot of things in the world needs to change.
So your next project should be writing a book.
Yeah, I've started taking notes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you really should.
I've started
You
taking
really
notes, and I tried.
Because you're saying things that never occurred to me before, honestly.
Thank you.
It's fascinating to me.
Thank
But
you.
you had a last question you wanted to
Well,
put to
that was how
message to the next,
Yeah, the message to the alphas that are listening and the up and coming music generation, but mainly really speaking to the rap generation, the new rap generation. Because I think it'd be just so difficult out there to break through because we're talking about digitalization. There's so much content out there. How do you create something, put it out into the world, and have it heard?
Correct.
Daunting, absolutely daunting. If you're a creative coming through now, what would you suggest to them?
I would suggest to understand one basic crucial decision-making element, which is understanding what music is and what business is. So they are two different things. You either do music for passion or do it for business. There is no in between. That one is the first thing I tell any new kids coming off the street. Okay, you want to rap? Good. What do you want to do it for? As a passion? Go enjoy yourself. But if you do business and you're going to invest your money, right? It's a business. And since it's a business, study business. What business is in the most basic elemental, aspect. If you lose this clarity, you are heading for danger. That's what I've been doing, and I'm telling you from the pain and the suffering I've had for most of my life, that I did not know how to discriminate this, and I didn't self-educate myself of what really proper management is and all that. So that's the first thing I'll tell a kid. You want to become a rapper? Good. You make sure you're clear you're doing it for passion. Once you say, I want to do it for business, you're going to put in money, you're going to steer off your career path. So you're not going for a degree, you want to become a rapper. So do you have a career path? Do you know what are the stages? Okay, and whether you can earn money? So if you don't, then it's not a business. You don't have planning. So this is what I tell the kids, and I try to educate them and all that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Pity, but we have to bring this to a close.
Yeah.
Yogi B, you have been absolutely mind-blowing.
Thank you.
Fascinating. You're wise. You're wise about so much that's going on around us. So talented, but above all, you're a good person.
Thank you.
And I think that, to me,
Thank
shines through. So, and we're so appreciative of your sitting here with us and just chatting with us. And thank you for your time. I know it's precious.
Thank you.
So maybe I can impose on you one last time for our viewers who would love to hear you. If you could just do one more item for us. Perform one more.
I'll do a bit of 2 tracks. One from my this song, which became the most played local English song in Malaysia, which I got an award from Music Authors and Copyright Protection. So the song's called Money Money. And another one would be I'll do Indian Girls, because that's a track. Yeah, so it's a track about Indian girls. I had grandmothers coming up to me and saying, "Oh, thanks for rapping. You know, now my granddaughter is proud
the younger generation may say something else."
Yes, yeah, they might say something else. So I'll do Money Money and probably Indian Girls. Is that okay? See, she's not. Okay, that's my message. So this is Money Money. Yo! You give them true love, that ain't enough. Shorty wanna be J-Lo, but this daddy ain't gon' puff. Dineros, moolah, all the buku bucks. But that's what gonna make all these chicken heads cluck. I say it out raw like a Woo Killer B. Cash rules everything around me, baby. If you got enough, you can make a boy band sing. $1 million videos looking like the real thing. Never show your whole salary on ice rings, cause when she break out, she gon' take the bling bling. But still, people ask me, Mr. Yogi B, why don't you go to the States and do a gig with Jay-Z? Get Dr. Dre to produce the LP and do a collabo track with Slim Shady. Well, Dr. Dre just go in and ask me one thing. Show me the money, ma. What makes the world go ha, 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 ha? Everyone wanna buy. It's all about the money. Boom. That's it. Yeah, and I can do one more.
The next one is in Tamil?
Yeah, in Tamil. I'll do this one. This one's called Indian Girls. All over the world, I love to see my Indian girls. Salange voliyil mookuthi alagi with black Indian curls. So sexy in them silky saris, country Indian girls. Rockin' Prada, Kunguma Pottikari, my city Indian girls. Yeniden kannin mani en manam bulle tekel yetane pengal vartam still I love them Indian girl. Un parve podamin angel poo tidam solladi un per adu tan mandiram ponnu kenna panjam mannu mele endralam unnai pola yarum illa solladi katpukku paadam solli veediyila kaiyila sillam boda kannagi chala. When she wants she can be vara Lakshmi solval uttami, please don't touch me. College Saraswati Kakam Sakti Ragala Payala Kodala Uruvam Kateri Kali and ஒருத்தி அவள் யாரோ எந்த ஊரில் இருக்காளோ இந்த மனச திறந்து வெச்ச என் இதய புறா என் இடம் வருமோ yeah, that's it.
Woo! And that is a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Thank you very much for watching Bole the podcast, and thank you, Yogi B.
Thank you, Abhiya. Thank you
so much.
Thank you very much, man.
It's been one of the best interviews I've done. No pressure at all, and
thanks, man.
I hope
we should do it again.
Yeah. Thanks so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Lovely meeting you. We're gonna chat for a long time more.
Yes.
Thanks everyone at home. Appreciate your time for staying all through to the end. Check us out on all of our socials. You know all the links. We'll put them all down there. But please like, subscribe, share. Check out all Yogi B stuff. He's told us about a bunch of stuff that's coming out that we didn't want to talk about on the camera. So just stay tuned. Really cool stuff coming out. And thanks again, Yogi B. Appreciate you. See you guys.